This is 7 National News. In our top story, the leadership of the UAE has called upon all citizens and residents to help alleviate the suffering of over 1 million refugees of the Syrian conflict as they face harsh conditions and freezing temperatures as a result of bitter winter storms. With refugees in Jordan and Lebanon, as well as those in Gaza and other Palestine regions needing immediate relief materials, including blankets, winter clothes and food supplies, an air bridge to send urgent relief shipments to those affected was ordered by President His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan. To support this directive, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the Vice President and Prime Minister of the UAE and ruler of Dubai, has also directed all concerned parties to start the immediate execution of the air bridge. As part of the hashtag UAE Compassion campaign, and with the participation of all government departments and private sector institutions, citizens and residents are being urged to join the national drive to aid the refugees suffering from harsh winter conditions in the Levant. Cash donations are being encouraged and can be made to the Emirates Red Crescent through the organisation's various bank accounts in the UAE. The UAE Ministry of Labour has announced that over 1,000 businesses have benefited from the Cabinet's grace period to settle labour card fines within the first 2 days of the settlement. The decision has been enforced since January the 4th and is offering companies the option to settle fines for 1,500 violations of labour cards with 1,000 dirhams for each. Humaid bin Damas Al-Suwaidi, the Assistant Under-Secretary for Labour Affairs at the Ministry of Labour, said that business owners who have paid fines within the grace period have saved over 17 million dirhams, as the total calculated fines value imposed on their practices before the deadline was 18.5 million dirhams. Within the first 2 days, the ministry received the payment of 1.5 million dirhams. Bin Damas called on all employers to take advantage of the grace period and speed up the payments of those fines in the month of January and February at the latest, in order to avoid a 500 dirham fine per month on the delay. Company owners have been advised to properly check the electronic labour permits conditions regularly through Enat Wassel services, by visiting the Ministry's webpage, mobile app or by visiting Tasheel Services Centres. The Ministry of Health has announced a list of mandatory anti-smoking requirements and procedures across the UAE and includes a ban on smoking throughout buildings, especially in closed indoor spaces. According to the requirements, establishments must not provide a smoking room on the premises, although some may have an outdoor space for smoking. No smoking signs must be posted, all ashtrays removed, and the sale, promotion or advertising of tobacco products must be strictly prohibited. Additionally, a comment box must be provided for public feedback on the anti-smoking policy. Dr. Bassam Abdul Menem, an advisor of the National Anti-Tobacco Program, was quoted in a local report as saying that the ministry had held workshops for the relevant authorities and agencies and briefed them on the requirements to qualify as smoke-free. The official added that while the measures are compulsory under the anti-tobacco law and its regulations for all public facilities, such as including educational and medical institutions, universities, clubs and transportation, they expect the implementation will be gradual. Dr. Menem confirmed that the measures would apply to all offices, dormitories, lifts and cafeterias, as well as company vehicles. Officials with the Ministry of Interior in Abu Dhabi have stated that there has been no increase in the security deposit needed to hire a maid within the UAE, contrary to recent media reports. A senior official at the Department of Residency and Foreign Affairs at the Ministry of Interior on Tuesday was quoted in local reports as saying that the security deposit remains at 2,000 dirhams and is refundable when the maid completes their work contract, the work visa expires, and they return to their home country, with the official adding that the safety deposit will be returned once the visa is cancelled. The fees are applicable for any sponsoring resident hiring a new driver, housemaid, chef, nanny or any other domestic help. In addition, a yearly non-refundable fee of 5,000 dirhams must be paid to the ministry for hiring the domestic worker. According to the UAE law, a standard labour contract is binding for domestic workers, and their employers and a copy of this document must be provided to the worker and should include an end-of-service gratuity in addition to the monthly salary. The official also clarified that workers are entitled to 1 day off per week and that the contract cannot be valid for more than 2 years. Upon the expiration of the contract, employers have to settle their workers' dues within 10 days, although employers need not provide severance pay if the employees are absent from work for more than 30 days. And finally, in the bulletin, one of Dubai's very own is set to revolutionise the film industry in the UAE. Elia Pedrides, a Greek-Lebanese writer and director, has returned to the Emirate he called home for 18 years. Last night, at a red carpet event in Dubai, film enthusiasts and industry professionals showed their support for Pedrides during the film screening of his most notable work, The Man Who Shook the Hand of Vicente Fernandez, starring film icon and Oscar winner, the late Ernest Borgnine. According to the acclaimed director, his love of film started in the UAE and eventually led him to being accepted at the USC School of Cinematic Arts, the highest-ranked film school in the world. After several projects in Hollywood, Elia has decided to come back to the UAE and share his knowledge and skills gained abroad with the younger generation intent on making their mark in the cinema industry. He has also cited his interest in working with local production houses.
Yeah, this is the city in which I first fell in love with film, for sure. I mean, I was here from 0 to 18, so some very formative years in which I came across the art form, partly through my parents primarily played a big part in that. They've always had a big respect and love for the art form. My dad's a film junkie. My mom comes out of the arts. So it's kind of like got it by proxy from them. It's sort of part of the DNA of our family. And yeah, all my early, very influential films that I came across here. It's a family film. It's about, I think a lot of people relate on it because everybody's got a grandfather. And it's a very sort of grandfatherly driven story. Everyone's got a cranky grandfather or two, here and there, or a story along those lines. And it's also about, it's the man who shook the hand of Vicente Fernandez. So I think everybody, no matter what territory it's shown in, can relate to the fact that big things, sometimes come in very small packages, like a handshake. And there's something fabulesque about that. So I think I hope it'll work. We'll see. Let's see if it travels, yeah.